Okay, a little bit more on that poem. 10 years later, I'm in South Dakota. I have, God's made it abundantly clear he's not done with me yet. Anyway, I, I've heard about Medjugorje, and I have a prayer group going, or I'm part of a prayer group that's decided they want to send a couple of the high school kids to Medjugorje. So we're having rosaries, rope rosaries being made, and bake sales and car washes. And this is Martin, South Dakota. We're not making much money, but we're working on it. And I went ahead and I felt a real need to go to Medjugorje. I was still trying to talk God into giving me my kids. And so I went with all the wrong intentions, really. But that was, anyway, I get over to Medjugorje, and I'm in this house where we have some nuns, and also a deacon was sharing a room with me. And the breakfast table, I shared that poem with a nun. And she was pretty impressed, I guess. And she met me a little while later and had several other nuns wanted me to repeat it for them. So I did. And all of a sudden, like I come out of Mass from St. James, here's a bunch of nuns and a bunch of people, and they want to hear it again, too. At this point, I just had this thought of, I said, I'll tell you what, before I share it with you, if you will give me your names and addresses here. And I told them our little group was trying to raise some money to send some high school kids to Medjugorje. And if they'd make a small donation, then I'd send them a copy of that poem and a rope rosary that we'd been making. So I shared it. That poem ended up raising $1,500 from these total strangers. And we sent 5 kids, and that was the cost of one of them. So of the 5, that poem sent one. And anyway, so I'd only left with like $50 in my pocket. I was broke. I put it all on the credit card. Anyway, I get done. I've been there gone for 8 days, and I had to drive clear to Chicago because my paperwork was waiting for me. If they'd have mailed it, I'd have missed the tour. So I get back to Chicago. I take my shuttle. I get back to my truck. I got a big rope rosary on me. And I hand my credit card at the gate, and the guy said, "Whoa, buddy, you take this credit card and you go park that truck and you take the shuttle back to the airport. You don't get out of this gate without cash. We don't take credit cards." Well, I'd never had a PIN number or didn't know how to get cash out of my credit card anyway. So I go back, and of course it's Sunday. Everything's closed. Every bank, everything's closed. So I keep getting told, well, the only guy that can make something happen is in charge of parking, and he's down on the second floor. And I'll tell you what, LaGuardia, is that what it is? Whatever it is, got a small city underneath that airport. And like 2.5 hours, I tried everywhere, and I knew something was trying to steal my peace. And so I had started saying the rosary right after I got sent back from the gate. 2.5 hours later, they kept mentioning the second floor parking lot, and I'd been down there more than once, and all it is a big underground parking lot. So I decided to walk to the wall and back, and I walked to the wall, and there, clear down on the other end, and was this little office building. So I go in there and tell them my story, and sure getting tired of telling that story, but finally they shuffle me into this little office and close the door, pretty noisy. So this guy does not I mean, it's like he's trying to get me to give away my firstborn son or something before he's going to let me out of there. This is Chicago. And finally she says, well, where did you go? And I said, I went to Medjugorje. And she said, oh, I've heard about that. And so what was it like? So I start telling her all the daily miracles and stuff over there. And I told them the story about my camera. I had taken my camera, but I wasn't going to be a tourist over there. I was on pilgrimage, so I was going to wait till the very last day and then just go snap some pictures, and my battery was dead. And you don't buy a battery for a camera in Medjugorje. So there I was. Well, some of the people that had heard this poem said they had videoed the whole thing and would send me a copy. So I was counting that as one of the miracles. And so finally she says, so would you share your poem? And I said, okay. So I do the I'm convicted poem, and I get done. And she's bawling, and he's got some teary eyes. And he opens his drawer and takes out a tablet and writes something on it and folds it and gives it to me and said, give that to the gate guard. And he paid for my 8 days. So anyway, once I got back, I shared it with a few other people. You got to realize this poem's over 10 years old by this time. There was several people in the church that had a really powerful effect on. In fact, I think Cousin Mike was one of them. Anyway, so this has been a powerful poem still, and I can still recite it by heart. It wrote me. It's absolutely true. Anyway, just thought I'd share that little bit about that poem.